First, that controversy over the Naxal encounter. For more, let's go straight to our editor-in-chief, Rashdeep Sardesai.
Thanks very much. Yes, the big story that's boiling at the moment, the controversy over the alleged killing of 19 Naxals in Chhattisgarh on the 29th of June, described by the security forces and the Home Minister as a big success. Both the centre and state governments now responding strongly to questions that innocent people could have been killed in this incident. In separate interviews to CNN-IBN today, Chief Minister Raman Singh and Home Secretary R.K. Singh have both batted in defence of the CRPF. This follows claims by activists that it was civilians and not Naxals who were killed in the encounter. The Chief Minister telling CNN-IBN that Naxals often use villagers as a shield and it's they who are to blame if any civilian casualties took place. The Home Secretary has ruled out a probe, but the CPM Politburo has demanded a time-bound judicial inquiry into Friday's encounter.
Raman Singh ji, we're seeing all kinds of different voices now coming up about the truth in what had happened in those killings of these Naxals. What is your information, sir? Were they really Naxals or were these poor tribals?
तीन अलग-अलग पुलिस के CRPF DF की टीम निकली रात में और तीन अलग-अलग स्थानों में काफी लंबे इनकाउंटर हुए। हार्डकोर नक्सली दो जिसपे मारे गए और उसके साथ साथ उनके शस्त्र भी बरामद हुए। ये दूसरा और तीसरा हिस्से में जिस गांव से निकल रहे थे वहां पुलिस पार्टी के ऊपर फायर हुआ। रात में दोनों तरफ से फायरिंग हुई और फायर में ये बात जरूर है कि नक्सली और हार्डकोर नक्सली जो आइडेंटिफाइड है उनके कुछ नाम जो निकल के आए हैं वो तो मारे गए हैं, पर एक ये करते हैं कि जो संगम के सदस्य हैं जो इनके सामने रह के जो सुरक्षा उनके लिए करते हैं, वो एक दुर्भाग्य है कि नक्सली हमेशा स्थानीय जो संगम सदस्य हैं उनके लोग जो तीर कमान और बंदूक रख के चलते हैं उनको फ्रंट लाइन में रखते हैं। मुझे लगता है कि राजनीतिक दृष्टि से स्थानीय स्तर में जिस प्रकार इसका राजनीतिकरण किया जाता है मुझे लगता है ये उचित नहीं।
तो लोकल लेवल पे इसका राजनीतिकरण
बिल्कुल उचित।
आप नहीं समझते कि होम मिनिस्टर परहैप्स हैज जंप्ड द गन? यू डोंट थिंक दैट?
नहीं, जो बयान दिया है वो पूरे तथ्य और आधार पे जो CRPF से DG ने और वहां से जो उनको सूचना मिली।
6 CRPF jawans were injured. They all had injuries from types of guns which weapons which Naxalites use. 2 of my jawans are serious. These people were going to another place where 2 other teams had gathered, where Naxalites were gathered. They were fired upon. Then they fired back, and basically, if you feel that, if anybody says that this was a false encounter, where did the bullets come from?
So, have you received any reports that children or women were among the casualties?
No, there was a lady, 16 plus, but the Maoists also have lady cadres, isn't it? And at 12 o'clock, at 12:30 at night, you mean to say the villagers are holding a meeting?
So, Home Ministry here quite convinced that there was nothing wrong with that encounter, not even an inquiry has been ordered. Activists though continue to say that those killed in Chhattisgarh were innocent villagers and not Naxals.
छत्तीसगढ़ के बीजापुर जिले में अभी जो आदिवासी बच्चों का, औरतों का, निर्दोष लोगों का नरसंहार हुआ है वो हमारे देश की आज़ादी के बाद की सबसे बड़ी नृशंस घटना है, सबसे अधिक निंदनीय घटना है।
Since independence is what some human rights activists like Swami Agnivesh are saying. This is what happened last Friday. At least 16 suspected Naxalites, including a woman, were killed in a fierce overnight encounter in the dense jungles of Datewada in Chhattisgarh. It left 6 jawans wounded. The encounter took place between the Naxal hotbed of Jagargunda and Basagoda in Bijapur district of the Bastar region. Joint operation by over 300 CRPF and state police personnel. A day after the encounter was reported, allegations being made that innocent villagers had been killed in the encounter. Okay, let's go straight across to the Dgcrpf to get his perspective on this burning controversy. Mr. Vijay Kumar, appreciate your joining us, sir. Were innocent villagers killed as is being described by human rights activists in this encounter? Were innocents there among the 19 people killed?
We can look at the context. It was joint forces which were approaching the particular site, Silgar, from 3 different directions. When they chanced upon this village, Sarakeguda, they found some noise there, and they tried to surround and they were fired upon. Once they were fired upon, they responded. In the bargain, who are all were there is a matter of further investigation and identification. But it is very clear from the outset.
Yes.
Yes?
No, go ahead.
There were Naxals there. There were Naxals there.
Yes.
There were other villages there. There were the villagers from that particular village also there.
But Mr. Vijay Kumar, you are saying there were Naxals there, there were villagers there. The villagers are saying there were 2 class 9 students and there was a teenage girl, 15-year-old, called Kumari Kaka among the dead, who has no relationship with the Naxals. Are you willing to concede some innocents could have got killed in the crossfire?
It's a matter for further verification, but as already clarified to you, that place is got Jan Militia or the Sangam. They call it Sangam in the south and Jan Militia in the north of the LW theatre.
Yes.
And there is Bal Sangam there. Different types of layers of militia is there and supporters are there. Yes. We have seen it in an incident in Beji last year where we lost 3 men. Yes. The strength was 250. Out of 250, 40 were armed cadres, others were armed with lesser weapons, and others were armed with bows and arrows and all sorts. You must remember the context and place. Yes. This is a place, a liberated area, and Silgar is a liberated base, and the place beyond Basaguda, no security forces have ventured there. Our target was Silgar, and I was wondering whether this incident at Sarakiguda was a diversion to distract us from going to Silgar. At Silgar, ultimately, we did not find much. But on the way to Silgar, when we approached from Chindalnar, there was another encounter in which 2 people were killed. Now, who was there? The assembly consisted of whom? Why they were meeting at that point of time? It was 11 p.m. and so on. And the people who approached there, who went, is not a peregrine militia or an itinerant ragtag army. It is a CA force of the country. And we are going into an area which is so-called liberated.
No, but my point is it possible, sir? Is it possible that in the process innocent villagers were killed, as is being alleged by the activists who are saying that the people there had gathered for a villagers meeting? They had gathered, these young people had gathered for a villagers meeting. Most of those who have been killed are between the age group of 15 and 28.
No. It is not. It is 15, yes, one girl was there, 15 years old. Young boy Suresh was there. He is about 18 according to one record, but they said he's later on, he's 16 only. He's a school boy. Actually, in the press report, they mixed up 2 Suresh. The Suresh they mentioned is 32-year-old fellow. And there they are talking about a younger boy, and they have made much of it. All the allegations are stereotypical. Talking about the loot, talking about the rape, outraging modesty. You spill all this into the public mind, create a sense of suspicion, and this is not a good thing. Our force is very decent. They are conducted with extreme restraint. We never used area weapons or any extreme weapons. In response to the firing, we fired back.
So the
whose bullet hit where?
Yes, but yes. You're saying that the CRPF, your own men suffered injuries as well from bullets. Am I correct? Your own men suffered injuries from bullets.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And some of the bullets which have been fired clearly shows they are not the guns which we are carrying. There was a very, very egregious, very funny kind of a theory, speculation made that it was a circular firing. Maybe when we are surrounding, we fired at each other. That was sounding little extreme. And then the forensically what is available, at least some of the boys injured, were not being injured by normal bullets, it has been injured by the country-made guns which only those guys are carrying. So that itself is adequate proof that...
Mr. Vijay Kumar, on the other hand, the villagers allege that there were hacking cuts, possibly made by axes, bodies were brutalized. Do you also believe this is propaganda?
One more. No, this is not part of our DNA at all. Whereas on the other hand, you look at what happened in Chintalnar, you look at other places, wherever they have done in many places, they are hacked and bruised and slashed. We don't indulge in this kind of brutal, primitive kind of torture and this kind of things.
But Mr. Vijay Kumar, would you say that the CRPF was rather hasty in declaring on day one that they were all Maoists? The Home Minister went public, called it a big success. Should you have waited a little bit?
Not at all. Not at all. You please look at the statement very carefully. In the Indian Express, Pankaj Kumar Singh said, part of them are Marxists, Maoists, part of them are maybe supporters. We are looking at who they are. Now, Home Minister's statement only identified some of the Maoists as declared by the local police and given to us. Right. We are working in conjunction with the local police. Whatever they identified, we declared. We never jumped. We never used the word biggest operation. It was what the media somewhere said, and what one word is taken up by the other, and there is a hack. We never mentioned anything like that.
Are you ready for a full-fledged inquiry? Are you ready for a full-fledged inquiry into this entire incident?
No, it is after the. It's not the question of by being ready. Our force is ready for a full-fledged counter-insurgency operation in the interest of the nation. Whether inquiry is to be ordered or not is not within my ambit at all to discuss.
So as far as you are concerned, this was an operation which was against Naxals. Your target were Naxals. There is no question of the CRPF opening fire on innocent villagers. Am I correct?
Absolutely. Unprovoked firing we never resorted to. The firing was provoked from the other side. We had to protect ourselves. After so many were injured, we opened fire. In the transaction, who got injured, how is a matter of forensics and investigation. But you must also bear in mind one thing. It is not as if we open fire in every instance. Each incident is a standalone. Each incident is typical. It is not stereotypical.
Right.
You look at what happened in Andhra yesterday.
Yes.
In Vizag, they have arrested more than 30 people. The Galiguda Dalam, if you remember the name,
yes.
7-8 most important people have been arrested along with 20 other supporters. Was any single fellow injured there? Were we trying to victimize anybody? Were we trying to brutalize anybody? So each operation is a standalone.
What
but I
would
must also tell you.
Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Let me just complete. In one major operation very recently, our people withdrew twice on seeing a human shield. I would not like to, in the interest of compromising, in the interest of not compromising the ongoing operation, I cannot disclose the place.
Yes.
In twice, our people retreated on seeing the women and children in the front. What does it mean? They are using it as an armor and shield.
You're saying
That's
Naxals
not a good thing. So
saying Naxals are using women and children
not everywhere. No. I would not generalize and universalize everywhere, but in many instances we have come across, and we have to use extreme, just withdraw.
Okay.
And in that incident, apart from getting injured, we had to withdraw. That was another situation. So it depends on how a situation emerges. It is for the field commander to take action. What is important is the bona fide.
Let me then put the one question to you. What would you like to tell the likes of Swami Agnivesh, Mr. Vijay Kumar, who are alleging that this is one of the worst massacres since independence is the word being used by human rights activists?
See, I have great regard for many of these activists. Many of them may mean well, but in their enthusiasm, there should not be a Stockholm syndrome kind of thing. They should not trash only the police. They should be symmetric in the view. When Chintalnar happens, when Dauda happens, when 150 people die in some other thing, once or twice, even in Menon's incident, I was very happy and surprised delightfully to see some of the activists came forward and condemned the action. But not always it happens. Security forces, they think it is a cannon fodder. That's not a good thing. And always to blame the security and trash them as something very condemnable and always bad guys. That's not a good thing at all. We should look at the overall interest. Why should the area be called liberated and be so backward?
Okay, point taken. Tough words coming from you, Dgcrpf Vijay Kumar. Appreciate, sir, your joining us and giving us clarity on where the CRPF stands and what is being now seen as a major controversy. Was it a successful operation, or was it, as some say, an operation that ended up targeting innocent villagers? We keep tracking this story here on
नक्सली इनको आड़ लेकर इनको फ्रंट लाइन में करके इन बच्चों की यदि मौत होती, उनके पालक यदि वहां पे थे, तो यही तो दुर्भाग्य है कि जो हार्डकोर नक्सली है वो पीछे रहते हैं और संगम सदस्यों को और उनके परिवार वालों को आगे करते हैं। ये नहीं होना चाहिए, इस बात को हम कहते हैं।
छत्तीसगढ़ के बीजापुर जिले में अभी जो आदिवासी बच्चों का, औरतों का, निर्दोष लोगों का नरसंहार हुआ है, वो हमारे देश की आज़ादी के बाद की सबसे बड़ी नृशंस घटना है, सबसे अधिक निंदनीय घटना है।
For more on that controversy, it's over to my colleague Nidhi Razan.
Well, joining us now on NDTV is the Director General of the CRPF, Mr. K. Vijay Kumar, who joins us on that controversy that has surrounded that operation which took place on Friday in Chhattisgarh. Mr. Kumar, there are several doubts that have emerged ever since this operation took place, which security forces described as one of their biggest successes against Naxals. Now there are several doubts that have been raised about the authenticity of the version that's been put forward by security forces. Do you still stand by your claim that every one of those who was killed in that operation that day, that night, was a Maoist?
When did we ever say that we have identified every single person as Maoist? We identified those names and conveyed to the media on the day one. We are upfront and said these are the Maoists identified. We have yet to find out who the others are. Now, as regards we have to look into certain facts. Where is that area where this incident happened? Which is the force it went in? The preeminent force of India's counter-insurgency ops, along with the local police, go into an area which is considered liberated. it is our legitimate duty to go there. And when something happens at 11 o'clock, there is something suspect. The whole situation would have been different if they raised their arms and surrendered. Nobody would have been killed and things would have been different. But we drew the first fire and we reacted. And the bullets flew. And which bullet killed who is a matter of further study. We have to find out the forensics and find out the inquiry and find out. Now how can you lay the entire charge on the CIA Ops group? This is not a counter-insurgency of third party like Americans doing in Afghanistan or in Israel is doing in some other place. It is first party. That means Indian security forces dealing with the Indian public. And we have used extreme restraint. And to trash the entire CRP and the joint forces for having done things which I can't even imagine is not a fair thing at all.
But then do you concede that innocent people could have been killed in this as well? As you yourself are saying, you've never claimed that all of those who were killed were Maoists. You're still trying to ascertain their identities. Do you concede that innocent people may have died as well?
No. I don't want to get into the details of the matter. I want to see the bona fides of the whole action. I wanted to know whether this place Naxalites were visiting or not. Whether Naxalites were there, or the Maoists rather, were there on that night or not. Whether the Maoists fired at us or not. If all these things are true, it's a very, very genuine action. That is a bona fide action.
Even if innocent
and who, what, and all, it's not like just a minute.
But
just a minute. It's not like a surgical strike.
Including teenagers. In
a night operation, how do you identify which bullet would have killed? Bullet is gender blind. Bullet is age blind. Whose bullet? What? How it happened? No, it is not like a surgical strike where you have a Navy SEAL 6 team coming and doing an operation or an iconic operation like Entebbe. It's a normal CIA ops force, well trained, led by an officer who is highly experienced, highly restrained. And when this situation happened, this was the response. It happened mutually. And to suggest that whether we could have inflicted the injury, I think is the most egregious or most outrageous charge which could have made on a trained force. They even went to the extent of saying.
But like Mr. Kumar, you yourself are saying that you fired bullets. It was late at night. You're not sure which bullet hit whom, and therefore do you concede that innocents could have died in that firing by security forces as well?
I don't concede.
Who shot them?
I speak from my No, I have not conceded. I have placed before you a matter of fact for all the viewers to understand. I myself have been in this operation, so I am talking with some personal experience. And if somebody else who doesn't have the experience, he will find it difficult to understand. So I am trying to place before you the right perspective to make it symmetrical. Not to say that everything is wrong with this side and they were all innocent. No. It is very clearly proved some of them were Naxals. Some of them could have been members of the other Sangam and all. I don't want to speculate. Let it be further verified.
Let me ask you, sir, that the villagers that our reporters have spoken to who were there that day, they have gone on record to say that they were forced into attending this meeting at night by the Naxals, and they claim that while they were forcibly taken to this meeting by Naxals, the Jawans fired indiscriminately. That suddenly there was an indiscriminate round of fire that was hit on them. This is what villagers there on the ground are saying.
No, maybe one villagers under coercion may have said. You yourself say that no Naxals coerced them. Why don't you also believe that the Naxal could have coerced them to say this also? To me, there was no policing there till recently. The Silgar has never been approached by any security force. It is for the first time we were going there. And then imagine the whole place, they were under the complete thumb and complete coercive rule of these people. And we are trying to enter the zone and we will be bringing them into the normal Indian polity. And in the bargain, if these guys are hurt and they can't, put all these charges on the CRP, it's not fair, and also the state police.
There are fairly serious allegations that are being made here, not just by activists, though, Mr. Kumar. It's the state Congress as well that is alleging that this is an out-and-out fake encounter.
I won't like to comment on who made what charges. It is all right for some people to suspect, some people to make a charges because the truth should be out. That's all right. But to only say on one-sided thing and to say that others are all innocent is not a correct approach at all. That is my point.
Is there also a concern, as the Chief Minister was suggesting today, that the villagers were also being used as shields by the Maoists?
Yeah, it is more than a concern. In many situations, our forces have retreated in the face of this human shield, hesitating to open fire, knowing what kind of massive collateral damage would ensue. It happened more than once. So I think Chief Minister has got more profound knowledge and direct experience of this.
Finally, Mr. Kumar, when will we know the outcome of this inquiry? Is there an internal inquiry underway to determine what happened, how this happened, and when will we know?
You see, there is internal inquiry within the department. We always have an analysis of any operation.
Okay, so you're saying that inquiry is underway, but you absolutely stand by the way this operation was conducted. When you look back, you don't think that it could have been done differently at all?
It is very difficult to say that each operation should go only this way. You cannot say that you give an SOP. You can give an SOP, but the SOP there will be some minor changes, because depending on the terrain, mission, method of the enemy, the size of the enemy, and the ambient conditions of light, what weapons he is holding, things can change suddenly on the ground. That is called typically in Clausewitz's famous book on war, the fog of war. So the field commander is the one who can decide. You can't have a surgically perfect operation all the time. But compare this with Andhra Pradesh. The very next day, they had arrested a joint team of CRP again, along with the greyhounds and the local police. They have arrested Daliguda Dalam, almost the entire Dalam. Around 20-30% were arrested. No collateral damage, nothing happened. So you can't say that there, just because nothing happened there, here also nothing should have happened. It's very difficult to put all this thing in the same.
When 15-year-olds die, when 15-year-olds are killed in an operation like this, was it premature of security forces to call this one of the biggest successes against Naxals?
No. The biggest success is a quote somebody else made. It's not my quote. I never went to the press talking about success. I am looking at this operation a very practical, pragmatic approach. We are sorry for the bereaved. Whether it is the Maoists, whether it is anybody, we are very concerned about the condolences to them. That's a separate point. But whether we could have avoided is a question you are asking. I think if the field commander is the right man, he would have taken a decision. To me, in that situation in which we had drawn fire in the beginning, 6 of us getting hit, and in responding, I think it was something only he could have decided. What else option was available there? Otherwise, we will be dying as usual, and we will be saying that the security forces are once again incompetent. Can't we get it right?
Alright, Mr. Vijay Kumar, the Director General of the CRPF, they're strongly defending the operation carried out jointly with the Chhattisgarh police, an operation now that is mired in deep controversy with allegations ranging from whether it was a fake encounter to innocent villagers being caught in a crossfire. Thank you very much, Mr. Kumar, for speaking to us.
Thank you.
Times now that the Maoist Central Region Company was being tracked by intelligence agencies, and the encounter was conducted to avoid attack by the Maoists. Nikunj Garg joining us with the details. So Nikunj, very clearly the attack was preempting a potential strike by the Maoists that could have claimed many more innocent lives.
Yes, Anand, of course. As you were saying that, the movement of this particular company was being tracked by not one intelligence agency, but multiple intelligence agencies. In fact, the Andhra Police Party, which had initially brought this information about the movement of this party to Chhattisgarh, was also tracking and had also traveled to Chhattisgarh just to warn the Chhattisgarh state government that this is a very potentially dangerous enemy and they should not let their guard down. Just to keep this company engaged, this particular operation was launched and planned, and that is why in 2 places, these parties, the CRPF parties, the Cobra parties, the state police parties, were ambushed by the Maoists, and the fire by the CRPF, but from the government of India's side at least, the claim is that the fire was only in return to when these parties came under fire. And that is why, just to avoid a potentially daring, a spectacular strike by Maoists prior to the onset of the monsoons in those regions, this particular operation was planned. Anand?
The Adarsh ping pong continues. Former Maharashtra Chief Ministers Ashok Chavan and Vilas Rao Deshmukh indulge in a disgraceful blame game.
Now going back to that Maoist development, 3 days ago, no sooner were 20 Maoists gunned down by security forces, Maoist sympathizers claimed the encounter in Bijapur in Chhattisgarh was fake. But today, the central government and the Chief Minister dismissed any such speculation, in fact shockingly revealing that women and children killed in that Chhattisgarh encounter on Friday were actually human shields used by Maoist terrorists.
Friday evening, the forests of Basargura, CRPF Cobra Battalion swoops down on a meeting of Maoist terrorists. A fierce firefight ensued. 20 Maoist terrorists killed. More than 5 CRPF Jawans injured. 5 days later, the Maoist sympathizers once again striking a predictable note, claiming the encounter was fake.
हमें SIT चाहिए, the Supreme Court के द्वारा independent, fair, एक इंक्वायरी कमीशन चाहिए.
the claims of the sympathizers negated by the facts on the ground that reveal the real story. A large gathering of Maoist terrorists were present at the spot, all of them armed.
CRPF was subjected to very heavy fire, and our estimate is maybe there were 45 armed cadres on the side of the adversary.
The Maoist terrorists fired at the security forces, and it was in the ensuing firefight that 20 Maoists were killed.
I know the force, I know its men, I know the leader who led the team. It was a pre-planned operation to go to Silgar, not to Sarakeguda. Sarakeguda happened by the way.
The Maoist sympathizers' claims falling completely flat, as intelligence revealed that the terrorists were using innocent villagers as human shields, hiding behind these villagers as they tried to escape the firefight.
यही तो दुर्भाग्य है कि जो हार्डकोर नक्सली है वो पीछे रहते हैं और संगम सदस्यों को और उनके परिवार वालों को आगे करते हैं. ये नहीं होना चाहिए.
It is clear that Maoist terrorists' real face has been exposed, using villagers as shields, indoctrinating children and fighting against the state.
Tonight, the real face of Maoists exposed. With intelligence reports suggesting the use of innocents as human shields, have Maoist sympathizers' claims fallen flat?